Digvijay, to you first, the finals on the 19th of November, but the big ticket clash, of course, India versus Pakistan on the 15th of October. I'm sure you're planning to watch at least one of those matches.
Well, you and I can actually make plans to watch all the matches in case we manage to get ICC accreditations. I, in fact, told Anas that he should be here for the India-Pakistan game at least. Because, listen, the schedule of the ICC World Cup is released at least a year in advance. That's exactly how it happened for the 2015 World Cup in Australia and the 2019 World Cup in England. But obviously, tensions between India and Pakistan leading to this delay. Just 3 months to go. Just 3 months to go, Rohit. So, but the big news here is this. India, the host country, will be playing in 9 out of 10 cities which are hosting the Cricket World Cup. They're going to be 46-day tournament, 48 matches in all. And Australia are, after India, going to be traveling to 8 cities all over India. And Pakistan are going to be playing in 5 cities. And obviously, as you said, 15th of October, India versus Pakistan. The one good thing, one big departure from the past ICC events is that India and Pakistan are not going to start off by playing each other. The fact that they've been playing only multilateral tournaments like the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, or events like the Asia Cup meant that those bodies used to put that match as the first to sort of, ensure broadcast deals, broadcast revenue, sponsorship revenue to build up the hype. But the World Cup starts with England and New Zealand, the two teams which played that thrilling final in 2019 at Lord's. And then India-Pakistan happens on the 15th of October. The grand final back to Ahmedabad on the 19th of November. The two semi-finals, both of which have reserved days, are going to be played in Mumbai and Kolkata. Let's go across to Anas Malik, who is our Pakistan bureau chief. Anas, what's the reaction in Pakistan to this? A lot of back and forth between the PCB, the Pakistan Cricket Board, the Indian Board, the BCCI, and of course the ICC. Is this a win-win situation for all three sides?
Well, Digvijay, we've just heard from the Pakistan Cricket Board a short while back while we were setting up for that live. And the statement from the Pakistan Cricket Board says, and I quote, the PCB requires the government of Pakistan's clearance for any tour to India, including the match venues. We are liaising with our government for guidance, and as soon as we hear from them, we will update the event authority, that is the ICC. This position is consistent to what we had told the ICC a couple of weeks ago when they shared with us the draft schedule and sought our feedback. This is what the PCB Director for Communications, Samuel Hassan Birnie, has just issued in a statement. So, Pakistan's fate of traveling to India is still in a limbo, particularly because, as the statement says, that it is to do with government's clearance. With the first match, you rightly mentioned, we've seen that a history, be that be the 2003 World Cup between Pakistan and India.
Hang on. So this is breaking news.
Yeah.
You are saying that despite this schedule being released by the ICC, Pakistan has not committed to touring India for this World Cup. Is that what the PCB position is? Just reiterate that for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The PCB in a statement has said that PCB requires the government of Pakistan's clearance for any tour to India, including the match venues. We are liaising with our government for guidance, and as soon as we hear something from them, we will update the event authority, the ICC. This position is consistent to what we had told the ICC a couple of weeks ago when they had shared with us the draft schedule and sought our feedback. This is the statement has been issued by PCB Director Communications Samuel Hassan Birnie. Now, I'll just walk you through the events because when it comes to India-Pakistan, we've usually seen that last-minute clearances have been done, be that be the 2016 World Cup in India, where just 4 days prior to the event, the Pakistani government had given the nod to the Pakistani cricket team to travel to India, and then they had boarded that flight via Dubai, via Abu Dhabi, and landed in India. In fact, even when it comes to match venues, I remember the Pakistan versus India 2016 World Cup match, the T20 World Cup match was scheduled in Dharamsala, but the Pakistani side had insisted to have it moved, and eventually the match was moved from Dharamsala to Kolkata, where Pakistan had lost. We had seen that quite of a spell by Mohammad Amir after his return, Pakistan's left-arm pacer at that point of time, and the then opposition leader, who later happened to have been the Prime Minister as well, Imran Khan, had attended that very match in person. So this political clearance is subjected. What we understand is that this decision is usually taken very very later, quite later, towards the end of, nearer towards the event. And the latest most example is of these SAF Games Football Championship. 21st is when it began in Bengaluru in India, and 17th of June or the 16th of June is when the Pakistani government had given the nod to the Pakistani football team. The NOC was issued that they can travel to India. So while, as we speak, there is no commitment to the ICC by the Pakistani side on official grounds because the government is yet to communicate, it is understood that nearer to the event, such events are not given a miss, at least by the government of Pakistan. And going back to the political aspect to it, cricket is something that unites. This is an election year in Pakistan, so irrespective of whosoever is in power, be that be the interim government or be that be the political government that is currently in power, the Shehbaz Sharif government, they would not want to miff people when it comes to a game as important as cricket, which is seen as a life and death situation across the border.
Anas, you know, we were talking about this just a short while back, and you were mentioning the sort of back and forth between the PCB and the BCCI and the ICC over the 2025 ICC event in Pakistan. Is the government of Pakistan willing to forfeit matches? Because if you look at it, you look at the schedule closely, as I mentioned to Rohit, India play in 9 venues out of 10, Australia play in 8, Pakistan seemingly have got their way and they are playing in only 5 venues, and all these venues are traditional sort of grounds in Indian cricket. You know, you're looking at Ahmedabad, which is scheduled to host the India Park game, or Bengaluru or Chennai. These are all venues, Kolkata as well, where they've played games. Do you think that the PCB is will be in a big soup if the government of Pakistan says you can't go? Because we all know that a lot of revenue of the PCB comes from these ICC events, and Pakistan Cricket Board stands to gain close to $35 million a year based on the broadcast rights from these ICC events.
Well, the history says, the history is an indicator that for such events, we haven't seen Pakistan forfeiting or opting out to play from it. And while, as I said, because of the situation at hand, no government would or no authority would want to give a nod that much in advance, irrespective of whatever the optics would be. So that is the reason the Pakistani side and the need to give this statement by the Pakistan Cricket Board arose, that where they have clarified that they are awaiting a nod from the government. And we previously spoke as well that the three times this schedule announcement was postponed or delayed because of Pakistan's inability to commit to the venues that had been proposed in the draft schedule. With that being said, the other problem is, the other aspect to that is that Pakistani side would want to give this semblance that they would want to play irrespective of the location, but there are riders that are attached to it. Unfortunately, even when it comes to a game of cricket, which should be away from politics, but unfortunately there are riders that are attached to it.
Let's keep the politics away from a moment. This is what the official PCB
so
reaction
the Pakistani,
is.
the Pakistani cricket boards. The fans are absolutely excited. The fans are absolutely excited. As I said, in the 2011 World Cup, in the semi-final, 3,000 fans were issued visas upon getting tickets. 3,000 of them in just a span of about 48 hours. So largely speaking, there is this general sense of excitement for an India-Pakistan match, for the fact that Pakistani team will be playing a World Cup, that too in the neighborhood, that too in the region. So that is what the excitement is about. The excitement is about for a show off or a showdown between Virat Kohli and Babar Azam. The excitement is about for a showdown between Virat Kohli and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Whether or not Hassan Ali gets to play, gets to be selected, or whether Shadab Khan continues with his magical spell from the 2017 Champions Trophy. Pakistan would want to continue this semblance of its winning streak. They would want to give this semblance of having an upper hand because of that last victory over India with 152 for 0, which Pakistan won by about 10 wickets. Then again, the overall sentiment would be, the mood would be very positive. The fans are positive about it. The fans would want to see the Pakistani cricket team participating. The fans would want to see a thriller of a clash. They would want Pakistan to break their taboo of not beating India in a World Cup match, be that be the 2003. The last time I remember was the 2003 50-over patch in South Africa, in the South Africa World Cup, which Pakistan had lost, and Sachin Tendulkar was the star of the match at that point of time in 2003. So Pakistan would want to break this younger generation Pakistan cricket team would want to break that taboo, that stigma that is attached to it, that they have not beaten India in a 50-over World Cup game, and that is what I think their focus would entirely be on, and that is what the fans would expect as well.
Okay, this was a bit out of your comfort zone. I'm actually going to get you back into your comfort zone. You know, India, Pakistan, ODI World Cups, India have always won since 1992. Pakistan have never won a match, but at the T20 World Cup, as you pointed out, in 2021, it was a 10-wicket win. Just one question, Anas. Cricket diplomacy is a term that is used especially for India and Pakistan. Do you see a point going forward that could come forward? You know, I remember the 2011 World Cup semi-final at Mohali. I was there for that game. And the then Prime Minister of Pakistan came for that match. Pervez Musharraf came to Delhi for a game in 2005. You know, I remember when India toured Pakistan 2004, Pervez Musharraf was there at the Rawalpindi Stadium as well. Zia-ul-Haq has come to India in 1984. Do you think that this cricket World Cup, you know, that the Cricket World Cup is a stage where as you said, cricket diplomacy could be seen? Do you think that if the Pakistan government takes an earlier decision, that all this can also lead to a much more improved relation on both sides of the border?
Well, cricket is something that unites irrespective, Digvijay, and you rightly mentioned the history. In fact, if I remember correctly, we had a senior Indian official as well back in 2004 when the Indian cricket team was visiting Pakistan for the series, and I believe it was the test series if my memory jogs correctly. You rightly mentioned the 2011 Mohali semi-final where the then Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani had traveled to India and sat down and saw the match. Of course, Pakistan lost that match. Even, in fact, the last World Cup, 2021, the T20 World Cup, and I can say this on authority based on information, the Pakistani Prime Minister was scheduled, the then Prime Minister was scheduled to travel in case if the Pakistani side had made it to the semi-finals, but unfortunately that World Cup was moved due to the COVID scenario, post-COVID scenario, to the UAE, but it continued to be hosted by the Indian side. So cricket is a factor that unites, and cricket diplomacy can possibly pave way. You rightly mentioned Zia-ul-Haq coming over for the 84 or the 87 World Cup, as what the history books tell us, and witnessing that match. So cricket diplomacy has been that icebreaker. In fact, when in 2004, Pakistan and India did try to normalize the relation, it was cricket that was the uniting factor. The Indian cricket team had visited Pakistan. I remember watching that match in Karachi, here in Karachi, where Pakistan had lost that match to India by about 6 runs. In Zaman trying to put that last hit. 1 ball, 6 runs,
Just
trying to pull out
I was there for that game,
in Karachi.
Anas.
That clearly did not.
I was there for that game. Ashish Nehra defended.
Yes, exactly. So
over.
Pakistan had lost.
Yes.
Exactly. So you remember that very well as well. I was there as a spectator. I was there as a student, as a spectator. So where Inzamam tried to pull a Sharjah in Karachi, but that clearly did not work out. Ashish Nehra bowling wicket to wicket, line to line, and doing some exceptional fielding due to some exceptional fielding by the Indian cricket team. They rightly won that match. With that being said, I think largely the focus of this event would be the India-Pakistan clash. You've mentioned that the jinx Pakistan would want to break is the fact that they've never never beaten India in a 50-over World Cup game. And to my memory, the 2003 World Cup game of Pakistan and India, where Waqar Younis was captaining, Waqar Younis or Wasim Akram, I believe, was captaining Pakistan, and Sachin Tendulkar were captaining India, and Sachin Tendulkar were the star of the match at that point of time, and Pakistan had gotten quite of a beating. So Pakistan would want to break that jinx, would want to go ahead and give this semblance of being the victor. They have some sort of a consolation or a pat on their back with the last victory in a 50-over game in an ICC event, that is the 2017 ICC Champions Trophy. If you correct me if I'm wrong on that, because Pakistan had won that game, the ICC Champions Trophy, in 2017, and since then, so Pakistan would want to go with their heads up, with a pat on their back, that the last game that they had played in a 50-over multilateral event they had won. So they would want to walk in with that confidence. But scenarios change. This is not 2017. This is 2023 that we're talking about. You don't have a young Shadab Khan. You have a considerably experienced Shadab Khan. You don't have the all-dependable Shoaib Malik in the squad anymore. He's opting, or he's trying to opt his way out of for retirement. You don't have an energetic Mohammad Amir anymore, a young energetic Mohammad Amir anymore. You've got this new combination of Naseem Shah and Shaheen Shah Afridi and Haris Rauf, three genuine pacers, as they said, with Haris Rauf being an exception, somebody who rose from tape ball cricket and then gave trials, got selected, gave trials, and eventually rose to the ranks of the Pakistani cricket team, to the point where he has now gotten, he's now playing with the red ball as well. Digvijay?
Yeah, Anas, just because, I was just noticing the passion in your voice, and I think that's what cricket does. These marquee tournaments, I remember the 2022, in fact, last year, the T20 World Cup in Melbourne, the India chasing down that Pakistan score with Virat Kohli winning that match for India. But the abiding memory for me from that game is India-Pakistan fans dancing outside the MCG to the tunes of Pasudi, the song from Ali Sethi. Do you think that, in India and in Pakistan, this match is built up? The hype, this is the game, on both sides of the border, it's said that, oh, you win this match, you don't win the World Cup, that's okay. The players now say that an India-Pakistan match, they don't believe the hype. That's what the Indian team always says, that we treat it as just another game. It doesn't matter to us. The bigger picture, winning the tournament, is what matters to us. Pakistan have done well in ICC events. They reached the final last time in Australia as well. Do you think the people of Pakistan could then start putting pressure on the government that there's no point saber rattling, we want to see this contest and we want people to come across and experience the World Cup in India? That's what it's all about ultimately. And that's what you mentioned. In 2025, there will then be a chance for Indian fans to go to Pakistan and see that ICC event.
Well, in fact, people in the government, they themselves want this to happen. They would not want to be seen as a roadblock in a good game, in a good sporting game, and especially when it comes to India-Pakistan. There is a lot of public pressure, both on the sports, the sports stars, and on the government as well, irrespective of the location that it is being held. So yes, the people would be exerting pressures on both the players and the government. The players, that in Pakistan, the general perception is that our World Cup is a win with India, irrespective. You lose the World Cup, you win the World Cup, you get out in the semi-finals, you get out in the qualifiers, it does not matter. As long as you win a game with India, you've won the World Cup for us. That's what the perception and general perception is in Pakistan, irrespective of what the players would want to give the semblance that it's just another game. No, it's not just another game. The Pakistani side or the fans treat it as a matter of, literally a matter of life and death. And I'm not exaggerating on that. We've seen that happen when in 2014, when Shahid Afridi went on to hit those two sixes on those two balls for the Asia Cup in Bangladesh. The excitement, the jubilations which erupted from Karachi to Lahore to Quetta to Peshawar, even to the smallest of the regions across Pakistan, you could feel that. The passion could be felt. when in 2017 Pakistan won that Champions Trophy in a
Yes.
50-over game at the Lords against India. That was felt in 2021. That became quite of a joke as well, and we saw a lot of memes when Pakistan won against India by 10 wickets. That was felt. So it's when the players would say that it's just another game. No, it's not just another game when it comes to an India-Pakistan clash.
Yes.
And the the people of Pakistan would definitely be exerting and forcing the government to make sure that the team travels to India, and the politics to that is kept aside and it's kept at bay, so that the people could get to witness this game and the beauty of the game that unites. Cricket,
Yes.
as I said as well, is a uniting factor. It is something that unites people all across, be in India and be in Pakistan. Digvijay.
Okay, on that note, Anas Malik, as I mentioned to you half an hour back, I hope you get your visa and we watch that India-Pakistan game together on the 15th of October in Ahmedabad. Thank you for this and keep tracking this, and hopefully we get that contest and cricket diplomacy ultimately wins. Thank you for joining us